My overbearing mother keeps invading my privacy, so I told her off.
Ay, ay, ay.
I think this might be EM, or maybe I'm just a crappy kid. 24 years old and a college student. I've worked in a bar for the last 2 years, and though it's a stable job, I still don't make enough to move out. I've had other high-paying jobs, but my area is just too expensive. But by the way, this comes from you-Acaria Sunshine 16 on the ROK storytime subreddit. So, and due to having moved to the state with my parents immediately after graduating high school and growing up a military kid, constantly moving and struggling to ever keep contact with friends, I did make because of it. I had no friends in the area, and I could just move in with, and I have too much paranoia to live with strangers. I've just been living with my parents until I finished college, doing it online because my parents didn't want me having to live in a dorm and be away from them, which I should be graduating next year and then hopefully move in with the only person I've managed to be so close with by then. We just live in separate states right now, so it's taking time. Anyways, my parents have always been very weird when it comes to raising me and my older sister. There's a lot of instances, I have plenty of stories, but this one just annoys me most and causes me anxiety. My parents' house is big, but every room except the master bedroom is pretty small. My bedroom can only fit my bed, dresser, and TV stand comfortably, so my desk and computer and bookshelf. My ferret and his big cage are in the bedroom next to mine that's used as an office for me instead. I'm 24, so obviously I love having some privacy, especially since I spend most of my life being heavily monitored and coddled by my parents, specifically my mom because I was diagnosed with Asperger's at 4, plus a bunch of other things that keep adding up as I see doctors. My sister actually told me she was a bit relieved about how little they ever paid attention to her because they were so focused on me. I was coddled so much by my mother that I am only now learning things like cooking or doing laundry, which she still keeps me from doing because it has to be done this way, not this way. And so when I ask for help, she gets mad and tells me to figure it out myself.
You didn't teach her.
Anyways, rambling all this to say our mom still hovers and overwhelms me with how on top of me she is. But the worst of it is probably the fact that she will let herself into my bedroom or office whenever she wants, most of the time without an announcement. Reminder, I'm an adult. I'm also AFAB and again, an adult. Though my parents don't believe I do things like that because I'm their baby who never seemed interesting and acts disgusted, but I act that way to keep my dad from making jokes and comments about me. So besides existing, I also do adult things in my private time. Obviously, I'll lock the door, but does that stop her? Absolutely not. So even if I'm in my office playing video games, I'll keep one end of the headphones off at all times so I can listen out for her moving around nearby. I won't have anything to hide, but my anxiety will go through the roof. Besides that, because of my dad, I hate anyone coming up or sneaking up behind me without my knowing, and she insists on my computer facing the door so my back is to the door. So I lock my door to prevent people doing that. Like any human being, I also lock my door when I'm changing in my bedroom. And what does my mom do? She finds my door is locked, unlocks it, and lets herself in. There was this one time, for example, where I was in my bedroom in the middle of changing. I am literally completely topless, to the wind, when I didn't hear her approach my door. All I hear suddenly is a sound of my doorknob, the lock being switched from the outside, and the door being thrusted open. And what did I do? I body slammed the door shut and nearly hurt her doing it. I don't know what it is, but even if it's my mom who insisted on bathing me until I was nearly 14. So the thought of anyone seeing me in any state of undress, even if it's just my underwear, feels disgusting and makes me panicky. So I'm not joking when I say I was hyperventilating when I slammed into the door to shut it and was quickly trying to dress. While I'm doing that, my mom is shoving into the door, trying to force it open, yelling to let her in and that she wanted to tell me something.
Okay, well, wait. Or tell it through the door.
Chill out. I told her no. She gave up getting in, mostly because I'm a fairly strong person despite never working out, unless you count picking up tables and kegs at work for fun exercise. LOL, I just like picking up heavy things to see if I can. When I finally let her in after changing, she's huffing and mad with me, demanding to know why I wouldn't let her in. I repeated, I was changing. And she said, so I'm your mother. I made that booty so I could look at it. I ignored that and said my door was locked and that she shouldn't just be letting herself in and unlocking my door. She responds with, I can do what I want. My house.
Ugh.
If I want in your room, then I'll come into your room. I can unlock your door if I want. What if there was an emergency? What if you were dying? What if I was dying?
Why are we doing all these what if-isms?
Because it's
You knocked at the door, OP said, I'm changing, and then there was no, I'm dying.
I'm gonna hit it again. This is classic Jewish mom guilt.
Yeah.
What if I'm dying? You're not gonna call your mom back? I might die. I said, I don't care. I'm an adult. This is my private space. You do not just let yourself in whenever you want. I don't disrespect you and let myself into your room and unlock your door. Don't do it to me. You just got mad and ran off, forgetting what she was going to tell me to do. There's an edit. Thank you for all the replies, giving advice and reassuring me. I will look into a door stopper. I just worry about her reaction since a few years ago, a bad experience with my dad and locked doors that left me sobbing and in a panic attack on the bathroom floor while he pounded the door until it nearly broke, calling me a lot of things. So I could have a lot of anxiety about my parents' reactions to being unable to get to me. I feel so bad.
Yeah, this is just not a great environment at all.
I'll definitely try to get a stopper when I get paid next. I'm making this edit to answer and add some things that I guess might need to be mentioned. I don't pay rent. They want me to, and were going to have me start last year until my insurance skyrocketed, and so it's been harder for me to keep any money saved up. It may be some time before I could finally move out due to money and the situation with my best friend, but I've been planning to pursue my master's after I finish my bachelor's at a school less than an hour away that's close to my work and requires freshmen to live on campus. The original plan was getting an internship out of state for a month or so to get practice being more independent, but I didn't get accepted to my choices, so I'm relying on pursuing a master's. Good excuse for them to allow me to live away from them. I'm not a legal dependent. Back in 2018, a month before my 18th birthday and right after I graduated high school, my parents insisted we get me an attorney and open a case to make me their dependent. I didn't want to. I knew it meant I'd have to stay forever, that I'd be stuck at home. I said I didn't want to do that, but they insisted it was for my own good and to help me. When we met my attorney, they didn't allow me to get a word in for the first 30 minutes with him. He made them wait in the other room so he could be able to speak with me, and I told him I didn't want this. He asked me about me, lots of questions. Finally, when the hearing occurred, my mother broke down sobbing and telling everyone in the room that I needed it, that I was going to in a ditch somewhere, her exact words, that they just want to help me. The attempt to make me a dependent was denied, as my attorney found me perfectly capable and happily wanting to be independent and thought it unnecessary to make me into a dependent.
I wonder if it's like it's not dependent in the same way that maybe they're talking about dependent in terms of like, oh, this OP is not able to function by themselves. Like maybe it's something along those lines.
My sister and I used to speak of me living with her, but because of medical situation with my nephew and with other family situations going on, my uncle is living with her and my brother-in-law to help with the kids in the house. After it being so long, I'm not sure the full name and contact of my old therapist anymore, only a last name. I don't even know the address of her office, as my parents didn't allow me to learn to drive until I was 22. I may try to speak with our doctor about referrals, as I know the address at least. I'm just hoping I could find a day off or can find an in-person therapist, as I tried digital and was getting nowhere with the lack of privacy to speak with someone. My bank account is heavily monitored by my mother, and she sees everything I do with it. I've been looking into opening a private account. I just worry about a new card coming in since she goes through all of our mail and I work often. Edit number 2. Sorry, another edit, but I forgot to add some things that I think I mentioned in the comments, but forgot to add since I was going into work. Warning, because I do mention wanting to end life. There have been many occasions when I'll get especially stressed from being busy with work and school and vent about it. My parents have insisted I just quit my job and focus on school, and they'll take care of me and my bills. I could just stay home and only do school. They stopped recently only because I told them to their faces that if I had to be home and did not work, I'd go crazy like that and end my life. Dramatic, yes, incredibly so, but it's true. And if you want to listen to full episodes with stories like this, just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app and search OK Storytime. Some of the hardest times of my depression were when I was out of a job and trapped at home constantly. Turns out it's probably a mixture of depression and bipolar. We didn't find out I was bipolar until last year when I first spoke with our most recent doctor. And I did attempt, but failed. Not that they noticed. Just thought I was acting tired and told me to lay down. A somewhat minor thing, I think, but when I drive places, I have to let my mom know where I'm going. And if she says no, then I can't go. Same with trips. And she makes sure I'm going where I said by tracking me. The one time I turned it off, she called me freaking out. Yeah, not a good situation, especially since, your mental health is involved and it could tend to lead towards depression and extreme forms of that. And it seems that, the more, not only is it like your privacy and your different rights are being taken away by your parents, but that your mental health gets pretty bad when you're around them, and it just makes it worse. And it seems like OP is pretty capable and is like looking into these different options.
Absolutely.
It didn't say that they had something that they felt like they were
I think
able
they're
to.
working right now, but
Yeah.
I don't know if they have any like places that they could move into.
Yeah, it seemed like there was like several threads that they were like, I could go through there, but it's like
nothing
not really.
solid yet. But that is the end of that story.